if we didn't have prohibition, is there any way that 20s and 30s music would have been so good?
There's a hell of a question. There's a hell of a question. If you didn't have prohibition, people would have gone back to drinking the way they normally did, which, meant that people would have, there would have been plenty of saloons with, serving alcohol all over the country. And they would have all been serving legal beer and whiskey at low prices. And you would never have had the development of anything like a speakeasy. You might have had roadhouses because, after all, one of the big developments of the 20s was the automobile. And people wanted to go out and, hey, let's go 14 miles down the highway and go for a ride.
Right.
And, let's get something to refresh ourselves. Look, there's a roadhouse up there. And so that would have happened anyway. But obviously, a lot of the venues for the better jazz bands were run by gangsters and mobsters. And jazz musicians became very adept at, when the shots start flying or fists start flying, how to duck and how to protect your instrument from damage. I don't know. Your question would no prohibition have meant no jazz, or certainly a change in the music? I'm sure there would have been changes. I don't know what they would have been, but that's a hell of a question.
Yeah, you're one of the only people that I could even consider throwing that question at, because even though I may not get an answer, but it's still something to contemplate for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you can throw around and talk about the various factors involved, but insofar as knowing, well, it's like we don't know what would have happened if John Wilkes Booth had gotten shot instead of Abraham Lincoln, and we wouldn't have had to suffer through the tragedy of losing our greatest president at our national moment of need. That's the greatest unanswered question in American history for me.